All righty, welcome to class. Today is Wednesday, March 31st, and I've actually already been here. I got Cam on here, and I got Lawrence over here. Cool. We're going to go ahead and get started. So if you can't make it to class today and you're watching this in the future, just feel free to skip around, do what you want to do. But this beginning part is kind of important, so I especially want you to focus on this because I'm going to go a little bit over what this course is going to be like from now on. So I've been doing a lot of thinking about this, and I think that some sort of cycle would be beneficial to everybody. Let me see if I can find a whiteboarding app. Whiteboard, AW. This I think is gone now. Is it back? Oh, it's back. Yes. Oh, okay, cool. For a second, they took away this app. It went away, and then they updated it, and now it's back for whatever. So I think in general, the way that this course is going to work is I'm trying to figure out the exact scheduling, but what I'm thinking is each mod is going to be a month. Mod is going to be a month. And the way that this month is going to work is I think that our first week is going to be like introductions and lessons. Let me do it like this. This will be kind of a rough estimate of what each month will look like. And this will assume like 4 weeks a month. Cool. So each month we'll do something along these lines. The first week will be like introduce you to some new content. The second week will be test you on that content a bit. And this test will be in class that I will test you. And this third one will be, the last 2 weeks will be project. And then project. During these 2 weeks, so I'm going to have pre-written content for you here, pre-written assignments for you here that you have to do. And then on weeks 3 and 4, it's going to be a lot more open-ended of a project where y'all are going to try to create something and you're going to be able to ask me questions. So in other words, the way when I went to boot camp, the way that it would work is in the beginning of class, basically they would say, hey, what do you want to learn today? And how I would respond, or how anybody in the class would respond, is they could just shout out, hey, I need a lesson on HTML forms today. Hey, today I need a lesson on CSS. Hey, today I need a lesson on JavaScript, right? So I'm going to introduce you to some content this week. Next week, I'm going to test you on a little chunk of that. And the third and fourth weeks are just going to be build a project, and you get to choose what the classes are. So that way you can build your project. How do y'all feel about that? You frozen, Cam? He definitely froze. I'm gonna shoot him a message. Yeah, let's see. So, all right. Well, since you're here, I'm still gonna be talking to the camera just because for people in the future. The way that we're gonna be. Oh, you're back.
Am I?
Yeah, you cut off for a bit. So the place where we're going to be looking at this content is going to be organized for you is this website. It's like the Justice Reskill website. So if we go here, right now we're in mod 0. I'm going to be making these mods as we go. We're already through computer setup, so you probably don't need to look at this again. Jordan will have to, y'all won't. This command line stuff, this is the first learning objective for this mod. I'm actually going to add a little bit here. And the main thing that I'm going to add that y'all should do before next week is work on some HTML and CSS. So that means that by the end of this mod, you're going to have your first HTML project. And it's going to be HTML and CSS. And that means that by the end of the month, you're going to be able to create your own project, dump it onto GitHub, do all of that stuff. Now, that might be intimidating because looking at this, there's not a whole lot of content on here. But this is actually part of the beauty of this, is that when you get to the part where you're making your project, that's when you get to request lessons on necessary things. So in other words, you're like, how do I get my project on GitHub? Okay, I'll teach you a lesson about GitHub today. And y'all will kind of control the direction of this a little bit. How do y'all feel about that? Good?
Let's see what's up, man.
Cool. That's basically how this is going to go. So today I've got a little bit more planned out of a lesson for you because I want y'all to learn HTML right now. I'm going to be writing more learning objectives for next week too. Again, just because it's assessment week doesn't mean you can't learn anything, right? Part of the assessments are to get you practicing your the things that you're learning. So we're going to kind of work a little bit at a time. We'll see how things go. I've never currently designed curriculum before, so I'm going to ask y'all for help and find out where y'all are at. Cool. So that's kind of the strategy here. Just a little walkthrough of this website. It's going to get better. This URL is going to change just because of the nature of how I created it. The URL isn't exactly what I want it to be. I want this to say like Higgs Code School or something like that. And then the way that you get to the main page right now is you click on courses and then you click on front end vanilla JS. So you click on that and it will take you here. Once you're here, what you will see is this. So you can kind of like click on the mod that you're in. You can look at the learning objectives here, and now you can see associated lessons, resources, and assessments. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Go ahead and try going on this website right now. So go to justice-reskill-student-site. Actually, I'll just post it in the Discord. And that's definitely going to change that website name. So feel free to log in. Bam, so you're on, and look at that, it's even responsive. So actually you're gonna have to click on that thing. Oh, cool, yeah. Click on that and then click for courses. It's responsive, so it does stuff like that. Cool. Oh, that was a weird sound. Cool, you need to close that menu, sorry. And now you can click on mod 0, bam. So do you feel comfortable navigating around now? Mm-hmm. Cool. So you can open up all of the links that you might need via that website. Hey, Cam, why don't you try opening up the website on Discord and just poking around through it a little bit, seeing if you're comfortable navigating around that. Because from now on, my goal is going to be to try and organize the content on here. I got to make the website look a little nicer. So and I got to make a sign in for it.
Talking about Discord or the other website?
I go to Discord. I posted the Justice Reskill website. It's not going to be called the Justice Reskill website as soon as I get the opportunity to fix that. But for now, that's going to be what it looks like. Also, another thing I want to share with y'all, what I'm going to start doing. So right now, these videos on here are just like, I just used as filler videos so I could design this website. What I'm going to start doing is I'm actually going to delete these videos and I'm going to start just posting videos from class on here. So in other words, I'm just going to write a date, a little description on what we did, and then they're going to go all right here. So that way, it's going to be easy to be like, I missed class yesterday. Let me just go on here and watch the recording from yesterday. Make sense? Mm-hmm. So that's going to be how that's going to work. And these are nice. They're searchable. And also these lessons are all searchable. So like, let's say you forget how to do a specific thing. So like right now, obviously there's only 4 lessons. That's going to get better. Don't worry. But right now it's like, okay, I don't remember bash commands. I just start typing in bash, or maybe I just look up command and all of a sudden I get access to that. So that's something that can help. But yeah, hopefully try and get familiar with it if you want to. It should help you out and be a little bit of a guiding tool. Awesome. I did want to take a little bit, we're at 6:44 right now, maybe until 7. I just want to talk a little bit about like what the learning process of coding is like, because this whole thing can be scary and shitty and suck. And I just want to prep you a little bit for the things that suck and maybe what we can do to get around that. So the first thing I really want to talk about is like, there's this thing that everyone talks about in coding, and like, it might seem foreign to you for people to actually care about this shit because, like, for example, I came from like a construction-y kind of industry, and like when I was there, it was like, nut up or shut up, elbow grease, that kind of vibe. In programming, the thing that I've seen that helps a lot of students out though is we talk about like kind of the mentality of the things that are scary about coding. So like the biggest one is that you're surrounded by people who have been coding their whole life and you are now just entering this field and you're going to feel like an idiot for a long time as a result of that. They're like, it's just this is a, we call this thing imposter syndrome, is what people, you'll hear the word thrown around all the time in the tech industry. Imposter syndrome, imposter syndrome, imposter syndrome. And at first I thought it was bullshit and it just stressed me out because it's like, oh damn, they're fucking with my hustle, they're making me feel bad, whatever. But then after like a while you start to realize, dang, if you're a little bit more cognizant about this stuff mentally, sometimes you can avoid, with coding you can find yourself in this like mental zone where even though you're working hard, you're fatigued and you're also like stressed out, so you're just not coding well. So like part of this is being able to recognize when you're there, recognize that you're a beginner programmer, and that you know, this is all new to you. And yeah, it's just worth talking about that kind of mindset every once in a while. Um, the other thing I want to talk about is how we learn. So, like, what a lot of people think going into programming is they want to learn like linearly. They want to learn like thing one, thing two, thing three. They think that there's like some sort of absolute path to learning coding. Like, I'll start with algorithms and then I'll move my way to HTML and then I'll move my way to CSS and then I'll learn backend stuff and then I'll learn this. And in general, your brain doesn't work like that. Your brain is a little bit more like a spider web. So maybe here on the spider web, you learned a little thing about JavaScript, and maybe here on the spider web, you learned a little thing about backend. And there's all these really complex networks between different concepts that you understand. It's not like you're just learning one thing after the other. So if you're ever worried that you're maybe not learning things in the right order, that's totally okay. Like in general, your brain works better understanding little concepts all the time. If you can go into a lesson and walk out of a lesson understanding one tiny concept, that is a big deal. And that's enough of that kind of stuff for y'all. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to all jump into some coding stuff. So, all right. Y'all are going to code along with me. My suggestion would be if you're on a Mac, go ahead and flip back and forth with like your three fingers between what you're working on and what I'm working on, or like the zoom, so that way you can follow along. You're going to have to get a little bit good at those shortcuts just to be able to follow along in class for sure. He's right here, so he doesn't have to worry about as much window management, but in general, that's what I want y'all to do. So I am going to use Spotlight Search or Command Space to open up my terminal. For you, you can just press a start button to do that. I feel like you're probably pretty quick with the shortcuts. And actually, I don't want to open up iTerm. I want to open up just terminal. I'm going to hit Control Command F to not make that full screen. I actually want this to be on the left. So I have a little shortcut that I could do there. You probably don't have that shortcut, Cam. I can help you download that if you're interested, but after class. So what I want to do is I want everybody by the end of this lesson to have a folder on their computer for this course.
Cut out for a little minute.
Okay, cool. So what I want is for everybody to have a folder on their computer for this course. Before we do that, though, we're just going to mess around with creating some folders and messing around with things, okay? So there's a few commands that I want y'all to know. I am just going to open up some notes on the right here. I already have a markdown. Hang on, I got to get rid of that. I don't remember who this is. Hang on a second. Bam. I just didn't want to release any sensitive information. Cool. So I want some notes here. First thing that we want to do is we need to be able to create folders on our terminal. Okay. So the way that we do this is with the mkdir command. This stands for make directory, which is the same thing as a folder. Okay, not too bad, right? Nothing crazy. So I want to show y'all kind of what's going on here. I'm actually going to go ahead and create a new folder here, and we're going to call it, it's called VSCode, okay? So if you run make mkdir VSCode, this is just going to be our coding school here, all right? So now you should have your own little folder for everything that we do here. I already actually ran this command. You could press enter when you're there. I already ran this command, so I now have this. I have access to this already. To show you what I'm about to do, I think it's a lot easier to use like a Finder, okay? So y'all don't need to open Finder. I'm going to open Finder so y'all can follow along and figure out what I'm doing. So if I am in here, oh, let me add this command. So first of all, let's list folders and files inside of the current folder. This command is, oh wait, this should be a different bullet point. So list all files inside of a current folder. Inside of the current folder, sorry. This is going to be the ls command. So let's go ahead and type in ls here. Let's look at what I have here. You see how I have all coding challenges, applications, blogs, code conversations, code wars? Well, if we look at this folder that I'm in here, you notice how it's the exact same folders and files? Cool. Do you have any questions on that?
Nah, I seen this the other day though.
Yeah, I do want to go over it again. It's super important because this is going to be how we're going to be creating all our projects, right?
Definitely.
But yeah, I also think I showed you by yourself. So I want you to try typing in ls on your computer. Cool. So those are all the folders and files that you have right now. Okay? So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I am going to now that we added that folder, you know, notice how I did that mkdir, I wound up with this what is it called? VSCode. So if I want to go into this folder and make changes, kind of like do this in my Finder. Cam, do you remember the command for doing that, for moving into a folder?
Is it touch or is it code?
Nope. So what is another name for a folder?
mkdir.
That's a command for making a folder. What is another name for a folder? You can kind of see it in this sentence right here. Directory. A directory, right. So what we can do is use a command called change directory. Yep, CD. So what this is going to be CD and then into the folder name. Okay. So let's say I want to do what I just did here and move from my root folder into VSCode. I could type in CD, start typing in HI, and then I could press tab to autocomplete. It's just going to search through all of these if I do that. So now if I do CD VSCode, what do you think I'm going to see? Cam, what do you think I'm going to see if I type in ls here?
All the files inside of there.
Yeah, which files are inside of there right now, according to my Finder? Yep. So if I look in here, bam, all I get is assignments. All right, my next question is, how do I go back into the root from here? There's two ways. If you don't know the answer, that's totally fine. But give it a shot. How do I go backwards one?
Yeah, I'm not sure how to do that.
So it's not like this right here, because this actually goes back in your history. This just says move me one outside of where I am right now. And the key is that we can use CD space ... moves you out of your folder. So this moves you out of that folder by one level. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if I'm here and I go CD ... I'm back in my root. Furthermore, what I want y'all to do, actually, let's go ahead and I want you to CD into VSCode And I want you to make a directory called assignment. And I want you to create that directory, then go back to your root. So first you give it a shot, Florence.
So I went back on.
Yep. So how do you get back into Higgs code? And Cam, if you want, you could share your screen while we do this. That way I could see both y'all's things.
Okay, LS.
Mhm. Yep. Yep.
I know.
Yep.
Keep going. Where?
If you want to share your screen, you can, Cam.
I am. I'm trying to get there. Why does
Oh
this
yeah,
thing-
Zoom can be a fuck.
So I do this to make something inside of it.
Mhm.
Figure it out.
Yep.
What photo are you making assignments?
Yep. You can spell it however you want.
So I'm in my terminal, but I probably have to reopen this, huh? I gotta
Nope,
close.
you're fine. You're fine in there.
But I don't see my username up there.
That's okay. That's Zish. You installed Zish, so now you don't see your username. That's just part of Zish. Don't worry. It's doing the same exact thing.
Okay.
So how are you going to move into Higgs school? Or
Oh, hold up. I
What?
got it.
nice. Now what I want you to do is CD into assignments and then manually CD all the way back out to your home. So first CD into assignments. Cool. Now I want you to CD all the way back out to your root. Cool. Good job. There's better ways of doing it, but I didn't even show them to you yet. So don't worry about it. You're doing great.
So basically like that for me.
The only problem is that you made your assignment directory inside of your root folder. I wanted you to make that assignment directory inside of, I wanted you to make that inside of the Higgs Co folder, the Higgs school folder. So how are you going to do that?
So I gotta go into Higgs school. And then, so I gotta add a folder to this.
Yep. Cool. Nice. Type in LS. So now we have assignments. You have your first project. Cool. I want you to CD back into your root. And now we're going to go to the next thing. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to, and I'm going to go ahead and share now. The next thing that we need to do is learn how to remove folders. Okay. So now we need the remove command. So to remove folder, it's just going to be rm-rf and then your folder name. So for example, let's say I'm in Higgs code. I'm going to move into there. And then I'm going to make a directory called Poopy Pants. I'm really creative. Now, if I want to remove that folder, I could type in rm space -rf space Poopy Pants. Bam, and now it's gone. So Cam, for you, you know how you created an assignments folder in your home directory?
Yeah.
Delete that.
All right.
And let me know when you're done with that.
Yeah.
You try creating and deleting a folder, just real quick.
Okay.
I know that like it is obvious what it is, but getting your hands on the keyboard and actually practicing it is like half the battle of memorizing it.
And then, is it space and then dash I?
Yep.
Okay. And then just the name. You don't have to put the little bracket things. You don't have to put, right?
Nope, those bracket things are just saying like that's their folder name.
Okay.
Coding have all these symbols.
Yep, no, that stuff's confusing as hell. You do need a space though between it. And you could probably just type in ST and then tab out the rest. Yep. So your tab works in general whenever you're referencing a folder. Zish is smart. It knows how to pick up on that.
Okay, let me try this again.
Sure.
All
The
right, so
reason why I like to go in this order of doing this command line stuff first is because if we just do this, we start off every lesson like this, you're not going to forget it. Because it's going to be like, hey, let's work on an HTML file. Create one. Done.
Yeah.
is it a different way to delete it for the actual like, you know, I built a folder.
So for a folder, it's rm-rf. To remove a file, it's just going to be rm file name. So it's even easier. So let's say I'm in VSCode and I make a file with touch, not mkdir. Touch creates a file. I'm going to call it index.js. If I list it, it's there as a file. If I type in rm index.js, it gets rid of it. I type in ls, it's not there anymore. If I try and type in rm assignments, it says, uh-oh, you can't do that. Assignments is a directory. No, sir. That's why we need that -rf for remove folder. In general, we call these little like dash somethings, we call them flags on command. So if I'm doing remove -rf, that -rf is like a flag. It's like saying do this thing, but do it a little different, if that makes sense. All right, how are we feeling on this stuff? Vista 5. Also, bless you.
I deleted mine.
Cool. So you're feeling good?
Yeah.
All right. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we really need to discuss today with this. I think we're okay on just this. So my strategy would be, I'll show you another one now, but know that I didn't even really know this until after I graduated a program. You could also change a file or a folder name by using MV. So let's say I'm going to make an index.js and I want to change it to app.js. I can use MV. So move is the way that you think about it. Index.js, and I'm going to turn it into app.js. And now if I list, I change the name of that file. That's another one you could do. That's also change it. So change blank to blank is like MV, file 1 to file 2. That's kind of like a good example. You don't really need to be good at that one. If you can just get good at all of these, you're golden. Now, something I want to show you is, let's say you CD all the way out. See how this thing looks like a squiggly line? Something you could do is you could actually reference that squiggly line. So that squiggly line is like globally known by your terminal. So watch this. If let's say I'm CD'd into VSCode, and then I even go one further and I'm all the way into assignments, I can also do CD squiggly line. It takes me all the way to the root, which is nice. Why don't you give that a shot? Try CDing as deep as possible, and then going into, you can type in that squiggly line. It'll take you all the way out to your home directory. Yeah. So now type in CD and then space tilde is what that's called. That squiggly line. Yep. Bam. Bam. And now you say you went all the way back out.
Yeah.
So the other thing that you should know that's a shortcut is, let's say I go back into VSCode's assignments. You could also just do CD no arguments, and it defaults to going back to your home directory.
Hold up, say that again. I was paying attention to what I had on my screen here.
Yeah, so technically you don't even need the tilde. If you just type in CD and then like tilde, CD and no tilde, it defaults to going to tilde. That's your home directory. So if you just do CD with no arguments, it says, okay, I'll take you to the home directory. The last thing that I kind of want to talk about as far as this terminal goes is just give you like a little bit of an overview of like the structure of your computer. So you might think, okay, this is my home directory. This is the outermost thing, right? Thumbs up if you think it is the outermost thing. Thumbs down if you think it's not the outermost thing.
I do.
You think it's the outermost thing?
I
Cam,
don't, because those folders got to be inside of something too.
okay, so why don't you go ahead and while you're in your home directory, try CDing out of it.
I mean, that's probably the furthest we could go back on that, right? On the terminal.
I don't know. Thumbs up if you think it is. Thumbs down.
I think it is if you're talking about specific terminal shit, because I've
All
already
right.
tried CD.
Well, here's what I want you to do. Try CDing out of it. So how do you CD out of it?
CD space ...
CD space ... Did anything change?
Users.
Yes, you went all the way out into users. So now I want you to type in ls.
I wouldn't say
Ah, okay.
It's going to be a little different for you because you're on Ubuntu and we're on Mac.
Oh,
But in general, this is still a good exercise.
okay.
So you see how you had to CD into a directory called home,
Yeah.
and that brought you to that home directory, which was tilde. For us, we CD'd out into one called users, and then your username is actually what that home directory is, right? Now let's go ahead and CD one more out and see if it keeps going. Cool, and I want you to type in ls now. And you see all this stuff like applications, volumes, etc, sbin, library, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Settings.
You're in your root now. This part is called your root.
Oh, okay.
This is your root nation, baby. All right. So this is the root of your computer. Whenever you reference this /, it's all the way out as far as you can go. Watch this. Try and CD out of here, and it doesn't do anything. It stays in the same spot. If I ls, it's the exact same stuff. So this is as far back as you go. Okay. Now, if I type in CD with no arguments, it takes me back to my home directory. In general, you're not going to work much outside of your home directory. But when you do installs and shit, it installs it a lot of the times into these folders. So for example, when we installed a lot of like NVM, when we installed Git, it installed it in bin / something. Here, watch this. I'm curious if it'll work. I can CD / to go all the way out. And if I look inside of, let's do CD into bin, and I can type in ls, and hey, look, we have all that shit that we installed. A lot of that got installed in here. Now, you don't need to be great at this architecture or anything like that. You don't need to understand this well, but it's probably good to know you're working inside of your home directory, and this is where we're going to live most of the time. The times that you're going to get out of your home directory is when you install stuff, and a lot of times that's going to be code that someone else wrote for you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. I did want to just mention that a bit. It's not super important. If you learn a little bit of that now, and then it's in the back burner until someone asks you about it, and you're like, I think it might be this thing. That's totally fine. Nothing wrong with that. Alrighty. So now what we're going to do is we're going to create a project, okay? And I'm going to try and let y'all take the reins as much as possible. So I want you to, here's my assignment, okay? My assignment is I want you to create a folder in your assignments folder. In that folder, I want the following files. I want an lowercase, index.html. I want an app.js. I want a app.css. I want all of those. Oh, and also, I guess we can do a readme, readme.md. So I'm going to put like 3 minutes on the clock, and I want y'all to go ahead and make that folder inside of your assignments folder, which is inside of your Higgs code folder or whatever it's called. And I'm going to put 3 minutes on the clock. Alrighty, and go for it. So what directory are you in right now? Nope. You are in home. Okay. So now what I want you to do is, which is the one that you have to go into to get back to where you? How do you actually get back to your home directory?
So like
The way to, yeah. So how do you get back to that tilde? There's a couple ways.
Just like CD space.
Yep. You can just do CD with no arguments. You don't even need a space then. But you can also do CD and then the tilde.
Okay.
Yeah, so either one works. So
So
now that
you
you're here, I
said-
want you to go into your.
For the folder.
Yep. And how are you doing, Cam?
Said index HTML app.js. What else?
App.cs, app.css, and a readme.md. I put them right here.
Yeah, I did it.
What do you want the folder to be called inside of the assignment folder?
Call it my first assignment, or you can call it
I
assignment
did.
1. Call it, yeah. I would just call it assignment 1 or something like
You want me to show you mine?
that. Yeah, go for it.
Share my screen. There we go. All right, right here. I already did that.
So you wrote all of these inside of your assignments folder. I want you to make a folder inside of this. Call it like assignment 1 or so. I want you to remove all those. First of all, how are you going to do that? How are you going to remove all those files?
I know I got it.
It's okay. These mistakes are like, do you need the -rf if they're just files? Give it a shot. I think it might work still on files. I'm not sure. I don't remember.
So it just might be RM then. Okay.
Yeah.
And I could delete them all at the same time, right?
Yep. Also, your tab will work here. So if you start typing in app, it'll probably autocomplete. If you start typing in index, it'll probably autocomplete. Yep. There you go. Yeah, you can do it as a space separated list. Okay. So you made directories. You didn't even make files. So you used mkdir to make those things, which means you are going to have to use rm-rf. But those should have been files, not folders. So files you create with touch, folders you create with mkdir.
Okay.
Sure. Now what I want you to do is type in, oh, by the way, you know how like ... references the folder outside of where you are? If you want to reference the folder that you are in, you could type in ls, or let's say do cd dot, for example. And actually it doesn't do anything because dot references, so dot references the folder outside of where you are. Dot references the folder that you are in. So if you just cd into the folder that you're in, it doesn't change. So what we want to do is we want to open this in code. So we can use the code command. I type in CODE, and then I type in dot, and that opens the current folder that I'm in code. I could also cd out of here and like do code assignment 1. You understand that? Cool. So if I do this, now it just opened up a VS Code window, and this VS Code window is now like CD'd already into assignment 1. So what's cool here is now actually if you do, if you open up this terminal, you're already CD'd into the right place, which is pretty nice. I like that. That's how I work. When I work on a project, that's what works for me. What folder are you in right now, Cam?
I'm in assignments 1.
Are you in assignments 1?
Nah, actually I'm not.
Yeah, so ls doesn't actually change the directory that you're in. It just lists the directories inside. Don't worry, everybody makes these kinds of mistakes. So what? It doesn't go high enough for that, but I can lower this too. I do need a chair if I'm going to do that. Bro, be jealous of this desk. Let it fuel you into learning how to code. All right. Yeah, for real. All right, Cam. So what I want you, do you remember how cd ... brought you out of this folder?
Yeah.
Try just doing one dot. Try doing cd dot. Okay, what folder are you in now?
Same one.
So what that dot means, if two dots means cd into the folder outside of this folder, do you have an idea what that just one dot means? Just take a wild guess.
Into the folder.
Into the current folder that you're cd'd into, right? So cd dot doesn't really do anything useful, but what we can do is there's a command called code. Code opens up a directory, right? So how are you going to open up the current directory that you're in? Code, and then what's the directory name going to be? Give that a shot.
Assignment 1.
Okay, so is assignments one inside of assignments one?
Assignments 1 is inside of assignments.
Right, but what folder are you inside of right now?
Assignments 1.
So how do you reference the current folder that you're in?
CD like that.
So that changes the directory into the current folder that you're in. How do you use code on the current folder that you're in?
And then I would say,
Nope.
like
You want to open the whole folder. So if dot represents a whole folder, it represents your current folder next to CD. It's also going to represent your current folder next to the code command. So try code space dot. You can't highlight and delete here. So code space dot. Try that out. Bam. So what you just said was open up the current directory in code. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. So now you just opened up your first project. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Cool. All righty. So we're doing good on time. So now we're going to actually make an HTML file. We're finally going to get to create an app. It's not going to be completely full stack or nothing like that. But the main thing that we're going to do is build some HTML. So I am going to go ahead and share my screen again. So I'm going to go, let's see. Where's my shit that I opened? I didn't actually do this yet. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. CD Higgs, and then I want to go into assignments, and then I'm going to make a directory and we'll call it assignment 1. And I'm going to CD into assignment 1, and I'm going to touch index.html, app.js, app.css, and readme.md. And now I'm going to open this up in code by hitting code dot. What else could I do? If I CD out of here, what would I type in to open assignment 1?
Could you put code assignment 1?
Yep. Bam.
That's what I was thinking that I was supposed to do.
Yep. Both ways are good. I just want you to be aware of what that dot means.
Yeah, yeah.
So now we have an assignment. So each time we click on one of these, it's just like opening a new file. It's just like saying like, here's my app.css. Here's my app.js. Here's my index.html. I want you to specifically pay attention for this part because I don't know that it'll work on your computer. So I want everybody to go into their index.html here and just type an exclamation mark and see if this same thing comes up. Bam. So if this comes up, these in general are called like suggestions. It's just like, hey, we have a suggestion on what you should put here. This particular thing is called an Emmet abbreviation. These are a specific type of suggestions for HTML. Long story short, this little exclamation one is a very big one. It basically creates your boilerplate for HTML. So just by typing in that exclamation mark, you now get all of this for free. Cool. So everybody give that a shot. See if that auto completes. Give me a thumbs up if it all worked. Cool. And at this point, by the way, I would recommend going full screen because you'll have the same terminal in here. You don't need your Ubuntu terminal anymore. The Ubuntu terminal kind of sucks, to be honest. Like, so this terminal is like, it's actually going into your Ubuntu terminal. It's just doing it from right here instead. Make sense? Cool. So now that we're here on our index.html, let's go ahead and make our first tab. Okay, now Cam's already done a little bit of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in open. This is going to call open angle bracket. I'm going to type in H1. I'm going to do close angle bracket. And actually this for me auto completes. I don't know that it will auto complete for you. Cool, it does. So it basically goes open angle bracket, then slash, then close. We'll talk a little bit more about HTML in a bit, but first let's go ahead and make our first header. So I'm gonna go ahead and call this, I don't know, I'm gonna call it John's first app. Okay. I'm gonna give this a save by hitting Command S. Mine's gonna auto format. Yours is not gonna do that. It takes some configuration to do that. At some point, I can help y'all configure that, but it's honestly better to do it manually first anyways. Now what you're going to do is you are going to open your terminal in here by hitting Command J. Or for you, it's Control J. And yeah, so cool. So now you're in your terminal, right? Inside of this terminal, first make sure that you're CD'd into the correct assignment. So we're in assignment 1. Now we're going to run a command that runs this HTML file. I'm going to type in lite, L-I-T-E dash server. So if I type in lite server and I press enter, have I been recording? Yeah, cool, I've been recording. I just wanted to check. I type in lite server, and what lite server does is it's a tool, and it looks inside of the current directory that it's in for an index.html, and then it hosts that. So when that's done hosting, it should probably, oh, it looks like it already started. So go to localhost 3000 on your computer. Just go ahead and click that. You can control click it, I think. Bam. So now you've officially started your first HTML app. Yeah, let's get it. So now let's start to talk a little bit about HTML, what's actually here, why we care, and how we're gonna like learn to do more with it. So first of all, we've got this stuff at the top, like this Doctype Html. I honestly always fuck that up if I do it manually. Fortunately, VSCode does it for me. Basically, just know that this is like part of how your browser knows that this is valid HTML, is through this stuff. So this is like just good practice to throw in there. All right. The next part that I care about is inside of this HTML tag, there is a head tag. So we're going to do some stuff later on with our head tag, but for right now, our head tag doesn't actually change anything that's on the page yet. So in fact, we can get a little bit to the head tag today, but this head tag basically just runs stuff in here before your page actually loads. So if you have anything that you want to pull in before your page loads, you put it inside of your head tag. A lot of times,
like for example, something on the head tag might show up on the tab portion of the website, right? If you put it in there.
And also, if you want to pull in CSS, if you want to pull in a CSS file, you can do it inside of the head tag. If you want to pull in a JavaScript file, you can do it inside of the head tag. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Cool. So, all right, cool. So next, what we're going to do is we're just going to look at just the anatomy of an HTML element in general. So every HTML element is going to look something like this. It's going to look like open bracket, some tag name, and then it's going to be like some class, which this doesn't have to be here. So this class could be a list of names. So maybe I have class 1 and then class 2. An element can have multiple classes. It's going to have an ID. And then you're going to close off this tag. And then you're going to have another opening bracket / the same tag name and then close. This is going to be the anatomy of most of the HTML elements that you're going to use. The vast majority of them are going to look something like this. All of them you can put a class on and you can put an ID on. Right now, don't worry too much about this class and ID. Both of those are optional. You don't have to put them on there. So for example, this H1 tag does not have a class. It does not have an ID.
So can you explain what the tag name represents? Like what does it mean?
So in general, tag name is not a specific HTML element. But let's say someone says, give me an H2 tag. Then you would basically swap out tag name for H2. Does that make sense? That
So
is
basically, anything that we want to put within those alligator brackets will be what it is.
I love how you called those alligator brackets, but yes,
I
exactly.
didn't- you know.
like you don't have to worry about if someone in general says, hey, can you make me a John element, then that means that you would do something that looks like this.
Yeah.
Now there's not really a John element, but there's a lot of different HTML elements. You got body, just here alone we have HTML, head, meta, title, we got body, we've got H1, there's H2, H3, H4, H5, H6, there's inputs, there's a whole bunch of them. But if someone asks you to make a tag and you don't know what it is, the general format is going to be the name of that tag, the stuff that goes inside of the opening tag, which there's a special name for. We'll give that a name in a second, and then the closing tag. And then inside of here, what do you think we would call the stuff inside of here?
I don't know what we call it. I know how it's going to appear. It's going to be the actual content that shows on the website.
Yeah. So for example, here we have a body tag. Inside from here, from like at the end of here to the beginning of here, we can call all of this stuff the inner HTML of the body tag. Does that make sense? Cool. So now like that's, you're not gonna have to remember that perfectly, that's okay. What I want you to do right now is I want you to create a, let's create an H2 tag here that says your slogan. And then I want you to create a list of things that you do. Yeah, like I'm Lawrence and I run Eyewitness Visuals. By the way, tell me that beat did not fit over that shit.
Yeah. Can you like email it to me? Because when I just saved it, it was like
the quality. I thought the quality was low. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might be because it's sent over text.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I'll do that. What I'll do is I'll just send you the audio for it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got you. Then you can dump it over yourself. I'm sure you can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll probably just put it in your phone and do it together.
Yeah.
And just save just a little bit.
It should be the same exact link. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try to watch it like 40 times.
I probably spelled that wrong too, but fuck it.
Damn, y'all be working hard on your slogans. I respect it. A list of things that you do. If you don't know how to do a list in HTML, what I want you to do is Google it. Because I want to prove to you how much Google can fucking help, bro. It can help a lot.
So let me show you mine and see if this is the way that I'm supposed to be doing it. I know 2 different lists, but I only know one right at the moment. All right, let me share my screen.
Oh yeah, my bad. Whichever one you do is fine. I don't care. I just said a list. I didn't say a
Well, I did an order list. I forget what the other one is, but I think it's like UL or NL, something like that. Numbered lists, huh?
Numbered list is OL.
Oh, okay. So that's what I did.
Yep. Nice. So you can look at his. So the way a list works is you have an outer element called an order list, and then an inner element for it, which is an LI element or a list element. And then each LI element represents the bullet point on that list, and the outside element is just like the list itself.
So I'll show them what it looks like on here.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. Are you running your light server?
Yeah, it should already be on there. Let me see. All these damn tabs.
So if you hit Command R on here, it'll refresh.
Okay. Oh, I didn't save it. My bad.
It's all good. Everybody does that. I still do it. It also looks like your light server is not running unless you're running it on a different.
Well, maybe I'll do it again.
It looks like you canceled your light server there. I see. You're in the wrong folder. That's why. So you ran this and it never went. So scroll to the top there. Nope. Go back. See how it says cannot get? Go back to where you ran light server.
Okay.
Scroll to the top of that terminal. Like, right, scroll down a little. Wait, is that what it ran when you typed in light server?
No, it was a different one. I typed it on a different page. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah, that was a problem. Yeah, there you go. Cool. There you go. That's what it winds up looking like. Oh, cool. Yeah, you had it too. Nice. Good shit. So y'all are both learning that. Pretty good. All righty. So awesome. I'll do the same thing. I'm also going to show y'all a little shortcut that you don't have to learn, but I know pretty well. So I need to create an H2. So if before I type my angle bracket, I just type in H2, there's these things in VS Code called Emmet abbreviations. And if I just hit tab, it automatically makes that for me. And then I could go ahead and type in.
You guys share the screen again?
Oh, yeah. Thank you for letting me know.
So that Emmet abbreviation, that is like the top one, right?
So that is also an Emmet abbreviation, correct. So here's an Emmet abbreviation, Cam. If I just type in H1, no angle brackets, this auto suggestion comes up. When I tab that out, I can go ahead and write something.
What if it has like 5 different suggestions? If you hit tab, will it just be the top one?
What?
If it has like 5 different suggestions, or like more than one, if you hit tab, will it just be the top one?
There, you look on the one that says Emmet abbreviation, is what I would say.
So if you hit tab, it's always going to be.
Oh, I'll show you. Watch. So if I do, let's do another one. I'll do LI. And you'll see there's all of these. First of all, only one of them says Emmet abbreviations. But let's say I want to do a different one. Oh, actually, they all kind of are Emmet abbreviations. Don't worry about it. But you see, I can select them. This is just my up and down arrow. It just doesn't look like it on this keyboard. Make sense?
Yeah. So like what I'm saying, like when you, so if you were to hit tab, like type LI, if you're to hit tab, it's just going to go to that one that's selected.
Yep.
So if you like hit down 3 and then hit tab, it would select
Yep.
that one.
So watch this. Ready? LI down tab. It
Okay.
creates that instead.
All right.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. So I'm going to create actually an unordered list. And watch this. This is how advanced Emmet abbreviations could get. LI, let's do ×3. Watch this. Ain't that fucking cool? Don't worry about that. But yeah, I could do, let's see. I produce. I do some fucking coding. And I do.
Omelets.
Oh, I eat omelets. Facts.
You gotta add that.
Omelets. Speaking of which, I'm getting hungry. All right. So now, cool. I have an HTML app here. The next thing that we're going to do, and I'm going to go a little bit far here because since today's Wednesday, y'all have a bunch of days to try and catch up and be able to do this stuff. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I want to style this. Now, we're not going to go super intense on the styles. We're going to do something really simple. We're just going to make like the title blue and the subtitle red. And also, I think this one was supposed to be an H2. So I'm going to fix this. Yeah, it looks kind of weird. There we go. Fuck shit up. Take no names. Cool.
Man,
So,
I'm about to go through all my notes throughout this week, man. I'm about to be on this shit again.
Good. And I'm uploading this video too. So, and I'm going to put out an assignment too. I'll tell y'all about it in the Discord. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to go under here and I am going to create a link tag. So if I type in link, and I can actually go down to this thing that says CSS and use that Emmet abbreviation. This href is the thing that I'm referencing. So since I'm referencing my app.css, I'm going to type in app.css. That's that file that we made here. And now we're going to do our first CSS.
Okay, hold on. So you hit link.
That will always be
Yep. And now
case
your
href,
href is
right?
going to be app.css. And by the way, remember how I said most elements start with opening tag, closing tag?
Yeah.
Something to note is like this meta element doesn't. This one opens and closes in the same line. This one opens and closes in the same line. This one opens and closes in the same line. This link tag opens and closes in the same line. It's worth noting that there are some that are notable exceptions to that, and these are them. Make sense? Cool.
Now what?
So now that we have our app.css linked out, let's just do a simple thing. So in general, CSS is going to look something like this. It's going to look something like, cool. It's going to look like the element the thing that you're selecting. And then these open curly braces, close curly braces. And then it'll be property 1, value 1. And then a semicolon. Property 2, value 2, semicolon. This is the general idea. Let me show you what I mean. So let's start off by selecting just an H1 element, right?
Okay.
So I'm going to do H1, and I want to style H1 and just change its color to red. That's it.
So if you did H1 space open curly bracket.
Mm-hmm. This
It's
space
all
here
coming
doesn't
back
matter.
now, man. It's all
Yep.
coming back.
Yep. Good, good, good.
Choose a color.
And you can choose any color you want. I'll just coral.
Dark olive.
All right. Terrible taste.
Oh, favorite color.
And also, one thing I would try and do is try and keep the syntax. Like, I opened a bracket here, I closed the bracket here, I tabbed in one, and then in here, I wrote this nice and neatly tabbed. Something to focus on as you're learning to code is try and think about these tabs, where you're putting them and why. And at first, it's going to feel really forced. And at a certain point, you're just going to naturally keep adjusting it. Okay? But cool. So we have this thing done. And if everything is right, you should have changed the color of your header element. So did you successfully change the color of your header element? Does not look like you did. So let me look at your code.
Let me see your code again, John.
The HTML?
I just want to see where you put the link again. Okay.
Right at the top here.
Yep.
Let me see your code. It doesn't matter how many are open. That shouldn't be a problem. Can I see your HTML? Link relative style sheet app.css. Did you save this and the app.css? Do Control S is a lot faster. And also, you want to show you a trick for switching between files.
Yeah.
If you hit Control P and just start typing a file name, bam. So if I want to go to my CSS, I'm here. Let's say I want to toggle between two. I hit Control, and then if I keep holding P, it just toggles. And since it just always pulls up the most recent thing, you can toggle between two by Control PP, Control PP. Yeah, pretty nice. See how quickly I can change between them.
Yeah.
You can try it. You don't have to. But anyways, so right now you have link relative style sheet. I'm gonna hit Control S here. I'm gonna go Control S here, and I think that should probably do the trick. So you can actually, if you like lose where you are, you can start typing in localhost and then colon 3000 should do the trick. Bam, it worked. Nice. How you doing, Cam?
I'm just, it's not working for me right now, but I need to just take a look at this real quick to see what.
All right, if you want to share your screen, go ahead. How are y'all feeling about this so far? Feeling good?
Yes,
Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
Get this shit out of my way. That is my shit. Why they ain't.
My hunch is that one of the two of you is going to be way better than me at styling very quickly. Maybe both of you. At least one of the two of you. I kind of suck at styling, to be honest.
Shit. There it goes.
I know, Cam, from what I saw you do already, you got good at styling quickly.
Yeah, I was better at styling than HTML at one point.
Yeah.
But
Getting good at styling is great. So you can go deep with that concept. Like styling goes deep. That's not like a surface level concept.
So what do I have wrong here?
Give that a save and give your app.css a save.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Can I see your app.css? So you don't have an H1 element on your HTML.
Okay, let me see.
So all you have is an H2 element.
Oh,
But
okay.
but you're telling in your app.css, you're telling it to style all H1 elements this way. Yep, there you go. Nice.
There it goes.
There you go, Mazel Tov. Got it. All right. So the next thing that I want y'all to do is I want you to go to here, and I'm going to give you a challenge. And you're probably not going to be able to do it, and that's okay. You're going to have two H2 elements. One is going to be your slogan. The other is going to be your, I don't know, your fucking mom's name. Okay. So there's my mom's name, and we'll say is.
Your screen, though. I can't see it.
Oh, sorry. My bad. I appreciate you telling me. So now you're going to have two H2 elements. Your first element is going to be your slogan, and you can even type in here, slogan, fuck shit up, take no names. And then you're also going to have your mom, and my mom's name is Joni. So you're just going to put your mom's name in there. And now, cool, we have that, nothing fancy here. What I want you to do is style this H2 a different color than the other H2. Try and figure it out. And I'll put 5 minutes on the clock. And if you have to go down the Google rabbit hole, that's great. Googling shit is the best way to learn a lot of the times. Yep. So I'm going to put 5 minutes on the clock. Bam. By the way, do you see how like actually building all this shit out yourself is like, it's almost like a different skill than following along with Free Code Camp, I think.
Once I go through all these notes, though, watch this, man. I'm about to come back. I'm probably going to have a whole website designed by then, y'all.
Good, because that's what your assignment is before next Monday. So it doesn't have to be a very fancy website. It's going to be like, make a shitty website by Monday. And then, yeah.
Shit, I even know how to throw a couple links in there, but I just got to, you know what I'm saying? Read over these notes again.
If y'all are both stuck in a minute, I'm going to ask you if you want me to give you the next idea. By the way, my best friend's brother might join this. And I have a hunch he's going to be a monster at like the coding part of things, if I had to take a guess. This guy like basically is like the kind of dude that will like go down any rabbit hole. You know what I mean? Like he'll spend like thousands of hours learning one specific thing and like get addicted to it and become like top 10,000 in the world. Like he was like top 10,000 in the world on like Call of Duty or some shit like that. Like he's just that kind of guy.
I'm done.
Let's see. You want to go ahead and share it? Show me what you got.
Let me see. I got to make it back to the damn shit that it keeps hiding me from.
Y'all like this competition going on here? Who could do that shit first?
Ain't no competition, man. This is all just life is a journey, man.
Hey, there ain't
Life
nothing
ain't no
wrong with some friendly competition.
Yeah, you're right. But you know, I ain't making it no competition. We just, you know, life is a journey, man. Everybody learns at their own pace. Everybody does what they do at their own pace.
Ah,
you
you
know
didn't
what I'm
actually
saying?
do it. So you didn't actually accomplish this. The goal is your two H2 elements have to be two different colors. So right now, both of your H2 elements are blue. I want one of your H2 elements to be blue and another one of your H2 elements to be a different color.
So for that, I have to put a link inside of that, right?
A link? I'm gonna let you try and figure it out. Now that you know the challenge, it should be a little tougher.
Here. Yeah, buddy.
You're on the right track, by the way.
For me?
Which tells me that you're able to. I can't see what you're Googling. I can see what Lawrence is Googling, and I can tell you that he's Googling the right things. Now he's probably not going to get it right quickly
Okay.
because
I
it
got
takes time to just get fast at this stuff and to get fast at researching things and figuring it out. And you're building a whole mental map in your head, but just looking at what he's Googling, he's on the right track. So
Okay.
that is an option. That's not the option that I would do, but that is an option.
You
General
talking
inline styling is not really recommended that much for really good websites, but you can do that to do this thing. That is a correct way of doing it. It's just not the maybe best practice is what I would say.
and I gotta put this in strings, right?
Mm-hmm. Cool.
So
Let's
you-
see what it looks like.
Okay. Get that to say. And now it should do it, right?
I think it should, but that's not the way I would do it, but it totally works.
So how would you do it?
Oh, I'll tell you.
I know I can find it in here. It's probably another way, but
I'll tell you when this timer runs out. For now, just take your mental break. You earned it. You did good. You got the problem right. So
shit, man. The notes did me well, man.
oh, you're so close, man.
Yeah.
Finish it. Finish it. Just type it. Give it a save.
So would it be a style
Work.
tag?
That, by the way, is the best way of doing it.
Style tag?
It didn't work for some reason. I don't know why. Did it? I think because you chose fucking olive green and green. You fucking asshole.
So you're saying this is a better way of doing it right here, right?
Not a style tag. So in general, there's three ways of doing things with CSS. The best is to pretty much always do it in your CSS file. I'm gonna go ahead and share now. Okay.
Yeah.
So first, let's go over what Cam did. What Cam did was a tool called Inline Styling. Inline styling is that you can create an attribute. Let's create an attribute and we'll call it the style attribute. And now the stuff that you type in here is basically the same thing as the shit you would put on your app.css, but it only works on this element, right? So I can do like style equals, I don't know, color could be purple, right? And now I give this a save, and yes, that totally worked. Now my
I got a question. Could you give us an example why this would not be the best way? Like what
I can tell you is the reason why is because when you're dealing with a complex website, like when you're a web developer, you're not going to be working with a website that's 21 lines of code long. You're going to be dealing with a website that's thousands of lines of HTML, right? Literally thousands, right? So if you have thousands of lines of HTML, you want things to be organized. And part of being organized is having everything in like separate, nice little neatly organized CSS files. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's literally an organization.
That over there, it would be disorganized because it ain't style over here.
Right. It's kind of a lot of it's just like what is industry standard right now.
Yeah.
So anyway, and you can look even when you go to like W3 schools, they tell you like, hey, Inline styling is generally not recommended. They will say that. And everybody I've talked to in the industry says inline styling generally not recommended. You can do it, but it's not the best way usually. So now I'm going to show you the way that I would do it. So remember that thing we were talking about before called classes and IDs?
Yeah.
So we can do this a couple ways. First, I'm going to do this the ID way. So an ID is used to reference a unique identifier on the page. So that means, let's say I only have one slogan on my entire page. I'll give it an ID of slogan, right? And let's say I only have one mom, which is factual. I can give this thing an ID of mom, right? So now what I can do is in my app.css, I can reference those IDs. Instead of styling an H2 element, I will reference the ID, the element, whatever element, whether it's an H2 element, a div, it doesn't matter what element it is. Whatever element has an ID of mom, I want to make the color, let's make the color purple. And whatever element has the ID, and remember this little pound sign references the ID, okay? Whatever element has the ID of, I don't know, a slogan, this thing is going to be gold, right?
Yeah.
So cool. So now when I go here, I said, okay, I'm going to take my slogan and make it gold, and I'm going to make my mom purple.
Bet.
Right? Does that make sense?
That works.
Now-
See, it just took you to mention it. I would have been able to do all that shit.
Oh, I know you would have. I know you would have. I'm not even like disappointed or nothing like that. Like you did great. Like, so now what you can do, I'm going to show you another way. So typically IDs, again, are used for like a very specific element on the page. However, we can, maybe I just want something, I want to style all elements with a certain like attribute the same way. So maybe what I could do is I could give something a class of like, I don't know, we'll call this warning text, right? And now what I could do is I could say anything that has a class of warning text. Let's do here. Anything that has a class of warning text, which by the way, a class you use a period for, not a pound sign. So I'll give it a class of warning text is going to be red. Oh, whoops, color is red. So now anything with a class of warning text is red.
Yep.
What's cool about this, maybe as opposed to something else? Well, now what I can do is maybe I have multiple things that are warning text, right? Again, this is not like an ID in the sense that it's not meant to be used, right? Class is not meant to be used only on one element. I can put, oh, this is some warning text. Maybe this is also warning text. Actually, this is not warning text. This eating omelets is warning text because maybe it's bad for you. So I can also give this thing a class name of warning text. And now I can apply that styling to whatever element I want.
Dope.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, a lot.
Pretty cool, right?
Yep.
So when you do, so like the first way that you were doing, right? But like the ID, so I put like that, right? ID
Oh, you need quotes around it.
around what slogan?
Yep.
Oh.
How the fuck did you do a quote with one? Oh, you have a shift right there. I was like, what the fuck? How are you doing that? I'm really dumb. I'm tired too, man. I was like, what the fuck? There's a fucking quotes key on your fucking keyboard?
I built that shit in.
Control and click. Did it work? Try refreshing it. Control R.
Man, I played some bets today, man. They came in too fucking close for my liking.
Let me see what you have. Oh, because you gave it an ID. Oh, wait. Go to your index.html. Okay, so you only gave it an ID of slogan. You have to give it an ID of slogan dash text.
Oh.
Does that make sense? That's just because of what you had on your CSS.
Alright, so then now,
Yep. And by the way, you don't actually need that H2 there. What this is saying is if it's an H2 and it has a class of slogan text.
so if I just want to.
But you don't need that. It's redundant because the only thing that has an ID of a class of slogan text.
Is an H2.
Yeah, and actually, did you do class or ID?
I
So,
did.
okay, so if you made an ID, the way you reference an ID is with a pound sign,
Okay.
not with a dot. So you're saying, okay, look for an ID of slogan text. And this part's kind of redundant. So you don't need that H2 there. So that should do the trick. Yep, give that a save, and that should do the trick.
Yeah.
Yeah, you should change your default browser to Chrome for sure.
I don't know that problem. I don't know if it's
Yeah, I don't know why either. That's strange.
something I did with the other time.
Cool. So I'm gonna call it here, just because I'm tired. But yeah, like, how'd y'all feel about that?
Oh,
That shit's good, man. Like I say, I got these notes. I'm about to dip into these again, and I'll be back to where I need to be, man.
Good, good, good. So the next, I'm thinking, I'm still debating really whether or not it's gonna be full month cycles or maybe it'll just be 3-week cycles. What do y'all think? Do y'all feel like you can? Would y'all actually bust ass on a project outside of the outside of like actual class? On if
Hell
I
yeah.
gave you like 1 week to do a project?
Hell yeah.
I mean, it depends on how like strenuous it is type stuff, but like, I mean, I'd still be willing to do it. I'd probably like if I had questions, I'd probably just come over.
Cool. I'm thinking maybe I'm gonna change it to 3 weeks. I don't know. 4 weeks just feels slow to me because giving you 2 weeks to do a project might be too much. I don't know. We'll think about that. I'm definitely open to changes. So
Yeah.
You mean 3 weeks as in like introducing the stuff?
as in like, yeah.
and then
So
project,
right
and then
now,
read-
the next week is gonna be assessments. So
Okay.
next week I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna sit down with you and be like, okay, make me
but it'll
open
keep
up a
going.
project in VS Code,
Yeah.
make me an HTML site, and you're not gonna know what the assessment is. Make a list, do this thing,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna give you basically the same test on Tuesday as Thursday. Same thing. And that's it, literally.
Bet. I'm with it.
So would you say like, just for instance, just like in the video, let's say you say like 3 weeks instead of 4. You're saying this week's the first thing, that week's the second thing, this week's
Project.
the project, then this week's the first thing.
Yep,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay, yeah.
That's it. Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
cool with that. I just was making sure you weren't saying like 3 weeks and then like a week off. I was like, no, take a week off. I'll get-
No. I don't want to take the week off either.
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel like it's good. There might
To
be
just
days I
keep-
have to take off for whatever reason, but yeah.
But yeah, no, just keep going.
Yeah, I think we'll probably do 3-week cycles instead, especially if y'all are like showing this level of dedication. And if I'm recording all these lessons and someone falls behind, I can just give them a different assessment or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so my plan for next week is to write out an assessment for y'all. Before next week though, what I would do is basically, here's my prescription on what you should do for your homework.
Okay.
Whatever the fuck you want to learn CSS and HTML. Literally, that's it. Learn whatever the fuck you want. Your project, like I'm telling you right now, your project in 2 weeks is literally just going to be make a fucking website. That's it. I'm just going to literally say, make a fucking website. You are allowed to look at whatever website, see what you want, and ask me, how do I do that thing? And then I'll know what to teach you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. So that's what we're going to do. There might be stuff that I'm like, we're not talking about that yet because you need this thing to do that, and we're not there yet. But there's a good chance I'll be like, we'll try that out, see how it goes. So that's kind of what I want this workflow to be like. Y'all go and do some research on your own. Go to Free Code Camp. Go to whatever source you want to use. Just go to that, learn some shit. Ask me to teach some shit when class comes up. And you could also use the Discord. So use the Discord and be like, hey, actually, I'm going to make a channel right now. I'm going to call it Technical Help. So Technical Help. Okay. So in this Technical Help channel, actually, I'm just going to call it Tech Questions. I like that better. So in this Tech Questions channel, you could ask a question about whatever the fuck you want. It does not have to be like whatever the assignment was that week. I don't care. the more questions you ask, the better I can gauge where y'all are at. So please ask questions. And also, if this is like part of like building a culture, if this were to like grow at all, is that if you see someone else who has a question and you can answer it and you're capable of it, give it a shot, try answering it. Like, I'm not a gatekeeper of knowledge. I'm not the kind of person that's going to be like, oh, I taught you that, Lawrence, but I want to answer this my way. If you give it a shot answering it and I see that it's incorrect, I'll correct you, but I'm not going to be like a dick about it. I'll be like, here's the right thing. Thank you for trying to answer it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, I'm a huge fan of when people are participating with each other like that. So, yeah. Cool.
Well, all right, my guys. It was a pleasure meeting
Class
with y'all.
is adjourned.
You know,
Banging my gavel.
I'll holler at y'all. I gotta go catch these games real quick.
All right. Later, bro.
Yep.
Peace.